Hey there, it's David. Welcome back to Cross Fitness, helping men and women get in the best spiritual shape of their lives, one workout at a time. Quick thought in this video that I'm calling If I Could Be Anybody in the Bible. Now, that's a fun thought exercise. You ever done that? Well, let me just share my thoughts about that. You know, I was thinking maybe I could be the Apostle Paul. I'd like to be like him. If I could be anybody, I'd like to be him. He was one of the greatest men that ever lived apart from Jesus Christ, right? But, you know, uh, he's just an icon of just the transforming power of Jesus. And he wrote 3/5 of the New Testament, right? Wow, what a legacy. But, he kind of ended up getting his head cut off. So let's move on. What about King David? My mom and dad named me after this king, and he was probably the greatest king that Israel ever had. But this Bathsheba thing, committing adultery with her, forming a plot to execute her husband, assassinate him, that's not the legacy that I want to leave either. He was a great king, but he was a lousy father in many respects. So, but he fathered a son named Solomon, and actually this was a testimony of grace. This was Bathsheba's son through him. And Solomon was a man that famously had unprecedented wisdom. He asked God for wisdom. God basically gave him a blank check. What do you want? And he said, I want wisdom, discerning heart to judge your people. And God loved him for that. And so he had wisdom. He wrote the book of Proverbs and Ecclesiastes and Song of Solomon, and he was the wisest man that ever lived. And he had just unlimited wealth and fame and status, and he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. But the foreign wives that he married led him astray into idolatry toward the end of his life, and now again, poor legacy. He didn't finish strong at all. Let me give you one more. Samson, okay, strongest man that ever lived. He's a candidate, right? And that's pretty cool for a guy, be the strongest man in the world. But Samson, he had this thing. He said, I want it. That's lust. He said, I deserve it. That's entitlement. And I can handle it. That's pride right there. He had an incredibly strong body, but an equally incredibly weak will. And his legacy was not good either, so I wouldn't want to be him. I'll tell you who I want to be in the Bible. If I could be any guy in the Bible, I'd be an obscure character, buried in the Old Testament, Genesis chapter 5 genealogy, Enoch. I'd like to be Enoch. Enoch was the 7th generation from Adam. He was the great-grandfather of Noah. His son was Methuselah, whose son was Lamech, whose son was Noah. And Enoch had this amazing testimony that he pleased God. The Bible says he walked faithfully with God, and God took him. And he was 365 years old. Oh, I like that combination of numbers, 365. It kind of implies to me like every day of the year, if you're following the Gregorian calendar, every day of the year, he just walked with God faithfully, day after day. And man, that's what I want to do. I just want to be faithful to God. I just want to have the testimony that I please God, and God took him. Imagine that. It's like a rapture, like the first occurrence of the rapture. And so 3 things about Enoch that I just observed that I'd like to import into my own life. Number one is Enoch pleased God. And wouldn't that be a great testimony and legacy to leave? Is that we just pleased God. And so, secondly, is Enoch was a friend of God. Enoch was a friend of God. No, never mind. Anyway, he was a friend of God, and I want God to be my very best friend. And then lastly, it's not done with Enoch, even now. We're talking Genesis 5, and we're in 2024, and God has a plan for Enoch. He was only one of 2 people in the Bible that never tasted death. Elijah was the other one. And who knows, some Bible scholars speculate that Enoch is one of the two witnesses in the book of Revelation, have a powerful ministry during that troubled period of time. The other is Elijah, because those are the only two that never died. And Hebrews 9:27 says it's appointed on a man once to die, and after that the judgment. So, that could be true. But Enoch pleased God, and God took him. And so God's not done with him yet. Don't understand what's going on there, why he's in never tasted death. But that sounds pretty good to me. And so, anyway, I just want to share that with you for fun. And who would you like to be in the Bible? Is there a character? If you're a lady, perhaps there's a lady in the Bible that you aspire to some of her character qualities and attributes. Anyway, I hope that encouraged you a little bit, and just have some fun thinking about that. For now, I'm David, your virtual mentor, reminding you that I'm always for you, never against you. Have a God-pleasing day. All right, take care.